A New York City stripper marries a Russian oligarch's son and eventually gets led on a wild goose chase to try to annul their marriage, ending with one of the most heartbreaking and powerful scenes of the 2024 movie season. Yes, this is going to be about Anora and why it should win Best Picture. Anora hit theaters for me last fall, and getting a chance to see this movie, I can understand so much of why this was considered the Academy Awards frontrunner early in the year. Not only did it win the Cannes Film Festival Palme d'Or, but Anora just brings a wild amount of emotions. The first part of the movie, you're seeing great chemistry and great work done by both Mikey Madison as Annie or Anora and Mark Edelstein as the Russian oligarch's son, Igor. And their chemistry together and building this relationship out is a testament to Sean Baker's direction, Madison and Edelstein's chemistry together, and just being able to work this and showing that, at least in Mikey Madison's mind for Anora, that this was more than just a transactional sexual affair like it started out as, leading eventually to them getting married in what is one of the most uplifting, positive scenes you have for this couple in Las Vegas. Then the movie turns in the second act to a pure comedy goose hunt chase. As Mark Edelstein's character runs away, we are now with Annie, Toros, Garnick, and Igor, played by a fellow Oscar nominee, Yura Borisov. Toros and Garnick give great comedic relief through the whole entire time, with Garnick having a bit of having a severe concussion from what was a really funny scene where they were trying to hold Annie down and everybody was assuming, why are you actually trying to be physical with her and tying her up? And her resorting to violence and doing the exact thing that they were worried about. Borisov is playing off as Igor so well during this whole entire sequence as someone quietly in the background. And Annie with Mikey Madison is just delivering so many great lines and so much energy throughout, and this just becomes a really energetic, comedic, and just great second act of the movie. It flies by really well. The comedic bits and comedic timings are there. Everything here comes together to really give you a big enjoyment to see what is basically four people that are being used by a very rich Russian oligarch's family, Toros and Garnick and Igor being more the parents, and Annie being used by Mark Edelstein's character, their son. Eventually, though, when they find Edelstein, the comedic timing doesn't stop, as we have an excellent courtroom scene that sees Toros so desperately trying to annul this marriage, talking terribly to the judge and finding out that he can't even do it because they got married in Las Vegas. This leads us to, I think, a very fun start of the third act of the movie where we meet the parents, the oligarch and the mother. The interactions they had with all the characters were great, including some really intimidating ones to Annie and, letting her know her place in their eyes. This is again where Yura Borisov really shines as that Igor character, being a soft, supportive character, not overstepping and trying to be the hero for Annie, but making sure that she should be heard and trying to get her respect. Eventually, Annie realizes that she's been played by her husband, and he was treating it nothing more than acting out against his parents and using her in a pretty terrible way. And seeing Mikey Madison's character go from hoping that this was real to realizing it isn't and lashing out and eventually just breaking down over this was just a phenomenal acting performance by Madison, and something that I think can easily deserve a Best Actress award, and she won my Joshker Award earlier this year. Once we get past and get to that final scenes with Borisov's Igor and Mikey Madison's Annie, we really delivered a couple different areas, whether it's Borisov shining in the living room watching TV talking to Annie, or just the extremely emotional ending of the movie with Annie and Borisov's connection, Annie and Igor's connection in the car, and kind of her feeling that anytime anybody does something nice for her, she feels like she has to be transactional with sex in a different type of way. Anora is just this type of movie that delivers on all fronts. It tells you a really deep personal story that has so many different layers going on to it with so many different characters. It gives you really fun energy and comedic moments throughout, and turns this movie into dramas, into comedies, back into dramas, even a little bit of thrillers every now and then. Anora just works on all levels, and I think a movie that is this wide-ranging and able to connect in so many different ways and be successful in so many different genres in the same movie is the perfect type of movie to win Best Picture. And it's why I think come March 2nd, Anora should win Best Picture at the Oscars.